COP11, I think, is a unique opportunity for people to meet, exchanging on all the aspects related to climate change adaptation, and especially on biodiversity and on marine biodiversity.
Since you're leading the initiatives in the northeastern part of the country, which is said to have more than 60% of the forest reserves, on which very good population also depends for their livelihood, what are the fundamental challenges that you have to face to implement your initiatives in that region?
The GIZ is an Indo-German project which is trying to help the communities to adapt, to find the appropriate measures to adapt to climate change. But this needs also knowledge. What is climate change? How does it happen? What can I do? So we are acting very much under the premises within this project of I see, I feel, and I change. Because I see the change happening around me. And only if you buy in people, if people feel concerned, they're also ready to do something. And that, of course, has an impact then also on the political approaches. Very often we talk too theoretical, people don't feel concerned, and nothing happens.
Ma'am, in a developing country like India, the debate of the trade-off between economic growth and development versus biodiversity conservation has been much talked about. In the case of, say, let's say a state like Meghalaya, where mining activities are taking place, it is important because economic growth has to take place, but it has also faced protests from people. What is the way out? How can we possibly strike a balance between the two?
You know, in a state like Meghalaya, you have, of course, poverty. From comparing to other parts of India, I would say there's poverty, yes, but there's no misery. The people are poor. They are living on agricultural products. Goods are often more expensive because they have to be transported via the roads. So certain things which you buy cheaper, you can buy cheaper in Delhi than you buy it there. But then again, the local agricultural products, they are appropriate in price very often. Not always, but now rise in gas oil or in petrol. Of course, it affects all of us, and especially also the eastern region where there's less money flow for the broad population. But I think one thing which has to be done, and I think if you talk about Meghalaya, the government of Meghalaya is very much concerned about a socially inclusive growth model. They are very much concerned about natural resource protection. Right. They have also founded institute which we are working together and where their co-financing issues are, supports are happening. They focus on knowledge of natural resource management and climate change. And I think that is a very serious political approach to face the challenges which are there. They help also to implement the State Action Plan of Climate Change, which has as priority mission water, agriculture, forestry. Forestry is a big issue. Only 7% of the forestry forest is directly managed by the state. Because of the traditional traditional laws and ways of managing forests and ownership and land tenure situations. So the government is trying to find solutions to these challenges. Yeah. But you cannot move the world in one day, but you have to look at what is the situation, what are the what is the legal and regulatory framework, and you have to create awareness on all levels. Right. It's not that only the communities need awareness, it's also the politicians who need awareness. And I mean, from what I can see, I find that in the Northeast, the states we are working, that they are very conscious of creating this balance. But you cannot move, natural resources are scarce, they have to be protected, but if you have to do it within a framework. Right. You cannot now all of a sudden stop habits and then you create more confusion, more problems maybe than if you go according to the rules of the art.
Of course. There is absolutely some gestation period required for every effort. Ma'am, my last question to you is, the government of Meghalaya is taking a lot of initiatives. When we talk about departmental work, are, in your opinion and in your experience, are specific departments able to coordinate with each other? For example, yesterday we were talking to the Secretary of the Ministry of Environment and Forest, and he said that at the central level, a lot of inter-ministerial work is taking place because MOEF also has to coordinate with other ministries. Do you see that kind of a synergy at the state level?
Again, speaking for Meghalaya, I think the synergies between the different departments are there. They are strong. Ministry of Planning takes a lead in coordinating. It is also coordinating the different external supports. They have this standalone program, development program, I call it Development Program for Sustainable Development, which is based on a livelihood program, which has set missions on all the different important issues. And whatever support, also what GIZ support gives to the government, is to be seen within this framework. And I think that as approach, that is right. Now, of course, you have to get policy. I mean, you have to mainstream all the instruments of missions into the policy framework as well, in order again to create the enabling environment. And of course, that depends also on people. It's not only politicians. It's not only a state. A state is made out of people. So we have to work on all levels, I think, on mindset and awareness. And I mean, we had the slogan here on COP11. Change happens, see, feel and embrace change. And that is a kind of organizational development on all levels needed in order to be more sustainable.